I guess my gift and my curse is comprehension. Like just taking the totality of a conversation and understanding basically what you mean and breaking it down into small parts. Uh, as far as Terence Crawford versus Earl Spence, what I'm hearing is a lot of double talk. So I guess I titled this video "The Boxer and the Businessman." When Terence Crawford approached Earl Spence as a boxer and the PBC as a boxer and say, "I want to fight. I want to fight these guys. I want to fight Earl Spence." Earl Spence said, "Why would I fight you? I take the easy route." And a lot of people, that was interpreted as far as business goes. So that's just the business of boxing. These are in-house fights that are easier to be made. We've now found out what I've always knew. Earl Spence don't even negotiate. So why the fuck do he give a fuck how hard it is for somebody else to negotiate a fight on his behalf? He's going to be sitting at home. So that the whole logic is that it's easier, right? Because it's an in-house fight and there's not as much negotiation and back and forth. That doesn't even fucking concern him. It doesn't concern him at all. He doesn't negotiate. He's not doing the negotiation. Al doesn't even have to do the negotiations. I'm pretty sure he has lawyers and assistants and everything else that can handle that for him. So are we to believe that he's so concerned that that Al's assistant and Al's lawyers may have to make a couple extra phone calls, a couple extra minutes on the phone, a couple extra emails or faxes, what have you, DocuSigns? Why is that even his concern? At this point, he's playing the businessman. And everybody, the overwhelming majority, I'll say 80-90% of the people on YouTube, has accepted Earl Spence as a businessman. And so we wait 4+ years. Listen to the dumb shit, wrong side of the fence. He ain't fought nobody. Even him not fighting nobody is like he didn't fight anybody at 147 was because Floyd Mayweather left all the belts pretty much with PBC. He left the lion's share of the belts. The PBC had 2 belts. He got stripped for the WBO. That ended up with Crawford. Sean Porter lost the IBF. Spence went and got it back. The moment Spence got the IBF, at this point, the PBC had 3 belts under their control. So you heard silly things like when the last time Crawford fought a champion. Well, he can't fight a champion if all the fucking champions are fighting for... Essentially what they was doing was fighting for vacant titles, and then they would lose that vacant title that they just won to Spence. And Spence ended up fighting the champion. So Spence said, "Hey, I got all my belts off the champion," who just fought a fight prior to that for a vacant belt. All of these belts were vacated, besides the IBF. So Spence's whole entire heavy lifting campaign was just beating Kell Brook, because everything else was in-house. So it's almost like just a weird analogy. It's like me burning down your house, right? And then like making fun of you for like staying with your in-laws or an extended stay. Like you gotta stay somewhere else, and I just burned your shit down. Like the PBC sabotaged Crawford at 147. And we was okay with it because that's the business. And then the argument is, why would Al build Terence Crawford's career? Because we're dealing with the business and we're okay with the business. Look, all this time we're okay with the business, but we're not okay with the boxing. We want to see the fight. Why do we even give a fuck if it's not Al's job to build Terence Crawford's career? It's boxers' job to fight other boxers. It's boxers' job to fight the matches we want to see. Not the matchup we will deal with. Like, fuck it, I can't get that fight, I guess I'll take this one. We didn't ask for fucking Danny Garcia versus Earl Spence. Right? Maybe Sean Porter versus both guys. But we didn't give a fuck about Ugas. And I know he had a belt. But they could have saved that. It wasn't going nowhere. Al wasn't going to let that belt leave. I would have rather had Crawford Spence. Already in the bag. We already know who the winner is. And then Ugas can fight them. But we're going back to the business. The business was, it's a bigger fight if it's for undisputed. So we ain't dealing with the boxing. We're dealing with the business again. Now fast forward to negotiations. Terence Crawford gets offered 35%. He says, hey, I accept it. And then they take a while to get him a draft. And let me tell you something about sales and impulse buys. You offer a motherfucker 35%, you need to have that contract on the way to get signed. When you offer somebody a deal that's not really a deal, that is an impulse buy. You don't allow him to sit with his thoughts. So you got Black Prime, BOK Prime. If they wanted to call it Black Prime, they would call it Black Prime. But you got BOK Prime, and they calling him for 10 mil. You know, he said he had 2 hedge fund people offer him 25 mil. At this point, he's starting to see his worth. And he turns from boxer to businessman. And now we not okay with the business. That's good business. The good bit at fighting Avanesian was good business. But now we want him to be the boxer. We want him to accept whatever to get in the ring because we really want to see the fight. Why didn't we want to see the fight since November 17th, 2018? I want to see the fight then. I want to see 2 or 3 of them motherfuckers. I do not want to see a 35-year-old Terence Crawford fight a potentially 33-year-old Errol Spence. I don't. To me, both guys have faded. Errol Spence used to look like the fucking juggernaut. His punch resistance is not the same. Ugas was literally hurting that dude. I do think Terence Crawford gets hurt more. Well, gets hit more than he used to. He don't have the same lateral movement. There is some notion that his orthodox stance is regressing. I can admit that. I think especially when he's being aggressive, he's getting hit a lot in that orthodox stance. Like, I don't even know if I even want to fucking see the fight anymore. Because I've been conditioned to accept the business. And like now we want boxing? I mean, you can't have both sides of the plate. It's a baseball term, but it's the truth. You can't have both sides of the plate. Y'all inconsistent. And most of the time when people are inconsistent, that's because they got their own agenda and they lying. Right? You need to ask yourself, why are you so inconsistent? Why are you so accepting of Errol Spence, the businessman, but Terence Crawford, the businessman, grosses you out? Why couldn't we see this fight earlier? Why was the side of the street a thing? Do you know, again, that was in November 17th, 2018. Do you know that Wilder fought pretty much a year later? He fought Tyson Fury 2. This was 2. This was both guys working together. Do you know pretty much a year after that, Sean Porter crossed the street and they fought too? And it was on his way to a purse bid, but I believe at the last moment they kind of worked out a 60-40 deal and both promotion companies was in there. You know that? So the whole side of the street shit was just bullshit. So my question is for everybody, what do you care more about? What are you more concerned about? The business or the boxing? Because I thought we was boxing fans. Like, if you want to talk about, I'd rather talk about houses and real estate, some shit like that. But what do we care about? Because I'm very concerned with you guys and you're waffling back and forth. Which one? You give a fuck about the business or the boxing? Because if we care about the business, then we cannot blame Terence Crawford when he becomes the same businessman that Errol Spence was. Errol Spence also tried to fight Canelo too, by the way. And you type in Errol Spence Canelo. Go to like Fight Hub or Fight Hype because they pretty much documented everything, right? Just go to them and type in Errol Spence Canelo. Go to videos, type in Errol Spence Canelo. See how many times this motherfucker mentioned fighting Canelo while he was trying to clean up his side of the street and become undisputed. He was mentioning that he'll fight Canelo. Again, business. You cannot. I mean, you can do what the fuck you want to do. But for argument's sake, for integrity's sake, you cannot be accepting of Errol Spence, the businessman, and so grossed out by Terence Crawford. I'm out.